Hey everybody, how's it going? The Harambe keeper, welcome, Woe Nation, Woe Entertainment family. Let me get back on Facebook and get back to the pin post that I managed to get myself off of. Here we go. All right, this week for an interview, I've got a guy named Lewis Anderson. He and I go way back, but before we do that, I've got to exhibit some actual manners, of which my friends and enemies would be like, "You manners." It- to quote that elf from that one Christmas movie, "You sit on a throne of lies." Most people would think I have the manners of a honey badger, but that's a podcast for another time. So let's start out. I'm going to give you the entire week, the entire week's worth of shows that are on Will Entertainment. So Monday through Friday at 0800 Central Standard Time is Wake Up Gallatin. Monday night at all these are Central Standard Time. 1900 Central Standard Time. Of course, I said Central Standard Time. Yeah. The Second Amendment Ranch with Cameron, Carl, and the occasional guest. And my guest might actually end up on that show too, because he knows all kinds of stuff about firearms. All right. Tuesday would be the flagship show, the Wool Radio Show with Redneck Pimp and Goose, or whoever is on at the time. Wednesday, Gaming with Jennifer with Blue Phoenix, Gaming with Jennifer. Thursday, Cars and Coronas with Gabblebees, and that'll be back on eventually. I'm going to try to get him on my show because I just revealed that once my book gets published and all the other stuff gets published, I'm going to resto mod my beat to hell Jeep. I'll put a picture of what she looks like right now, and you'll cry because I want to cry because my baby's in pain. So okay. Then there's myself, yours truly, the Harambe keeper at 1700 Central. Thursday night, okay, we also have at 1900, we have Renegade Radio. Friday night happy hour with William. That'll be back. Don't you worry. That he'll be back, and I'll get on there and just whip him up into a frenzy. It'll be fun. Saturday night at 1900 is Hot Boxer with Matt. And he and I are collaborating on a project that's going to be. Let's just say he's helping me advise me on building something not small. Yeah, it's going to be obnoxiously, unapologetically large, and we're going to grill many a dead animal on it, and it's going to be beautiful. So just throwing that out at you. Okay, Sunday we've got Sunday's kind of packed if you think about it. 1400 Ale Train Fighters with Athen, Don, and sometimes Nico. 1700 at 1700 somewhere with Athen, Cameron, sometimes Shay, sometimes Nico. And then we also have at 1930, we have Paranormal Nation Radio with Carl and whoever he's got on with it. So that's the lineup. Okay. And my chunky ass is still trying to get ready for Warrior Fest in November, and I'm plateauing right now and freaking the hell out. And yeah, so it's great. So yeah. All right. My guest, Lewis Anderson, God bless him. I love him. Before I tell you, I'll let him tell you how we met, but I'm going to read something. Here's my issue. There are three people in this world that are veterans that I'm very protective of. In the book, it's Wyatt Earp and Redneck Thor. I'm very protective of them. I've told you stories about them. Okay, this guy that I'm about to interview, I'm very protective of for the simple fact. Oh, thanks to one of my Canadian friends. Ironically, a Canadian friend bought me that, which is awesome. So it'll be in the living room next week because I'm eventually going to get off my ass and stop isolating in my room and get moved into the living room where it's a little bit more, a little bit less. Yeah. So I'm reading this to you because I'm very protective of my guys, and I've called a few people out on a few things, not by name, but they've figured out who they are. And this guy, I'm very protective of him, and a reveal why. What I need, I'm going to read this to you. This is out of my book. This is what I do in the gym every damn day, just to keep the anger at bay. I'm going to read this to you because I have a bad habit of being ever so slightly aggressive. I'm a veteran. We're ever so slightly aggressive sometimes. I'm going to read this to you, and friends and enemies alike will be like, that's it right there. So I'm going to read this to you. Oh, anyway, okay. This has to do with the 3-part interview, which should have been called an interrogation, during an incident that happened in Baghdad involving pepper spray and a disturbingly, well, rubber gloves and a disturbingly creative use of pepper spray. But you'll have to wait till I can eventually get this published to read it. So here's the paragraph. You're going to appreciate that. My friends and enemies alike will appreciate this. In the 11 years since then, I have become the interrogator. Every word out of every mouth spoken to me was a lie to be exposed. Every conversation was an interrogation waiting to happen. Every statement made was something to be scrutinized to death and back again. And when I found the lie that I was looking for, that I was convinced was there, I was going to make them pay. My God, I don't even want to think about how many people that I have interrogated right out of my life since that day. I've interrogated a lot of people out of my life, for better and for worse. Here's the thing about this guy. You know what? I'll wait. We'll talk, and then I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and I'm going to offend people because, it's my superpower. So let's get Lewis on here real quick.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Oh, not too shabby. Out of power, so Wi-Fi and internet's down, but that's okay. Modern technology and brand new vans. Here we are.
How much does that van run you again?
Just a little bit over 85, unfortunately.
Yikes. Whew, that's not cheap.
Yeah. No, it's not. And what's sad is even veterans, most people in the United States or anywhere else in the world today that need this equipment, that need this medical technology, can't afford it.
Oh,
I'm blessed. I can write a check, get it done. But very few can. And it's sad. And that's why whenever I have a vehicle that's, I've run into the ground because I drive 50,000+ miles a year usually. I put it less than retail, trying to get it to somebody else, preferably a veteran, but doesn't have to be, long before I'll even think about taking it back to the dealership and trading it in.
That's cool. All right, let's talk about how we met, and because you're going to explain to everybody how we met, and then I'm going to go into my little, not so much a rant, but I'm going to say what's on my mind and kind of. I read out of my book, and I'm going to explain why I'm so what that I'll talk about it later. I'll do it next time, but yeah, explain how you and I met originally.
Oh, gee, as they say, TBI is hilarious, just not for us. If I remember correctly, I was in crisis and sitting at the VA, and I made a comment in what was supposed to be a private, you can trust everybody, nothing ever gets reported vet group, and said, that 38 in the glove box, I know it's there and I hear it calling, I better go inside. And next thing I know, early the next morning, I got local PD because somebody in the group decided, hey, I better call and report this. So they did, and thankfully they called city PD, and I live way out in the county, so they couldn't. But then somebody at city PD said, hey, I got a mutual friend. I'm going to call and tell one of his best friends he better get over there right now. He's suicidal. So at about 6:30 the next morning, I got one of my best friends, fellow Marine, known him since the age of 12, pounding on my door. And I was pissed. That individual got found out by the group owner and thrown out. But yeah, it's like, okay, the one supposedly safe group I belong to. And I
remember I got the I'm looking at the group, and I'm like, somebody's like, can somebody talk to him? I'm like, my insomnia was raging like hell anyways, so it was like, I don't care. So you and I ended up talking on the phone. I'll never forget. I'm sitting here. I'm like, I said to you, I says, could you at least move the chamber to the left or the right and let the rounds drop out? And he's like, you're like, no. I'm like, can you put it in your lap so I know it's not pointed at your head? You're like, yeah, sure. I'm like, wow, thanks, buddy. You're helpful.
Well, that's like the psychologist when all that went down. He's like, well, we got this plan, and I know you for this and this and this reasons, and you've got all these firearms, and you need to sign this, and that you'll either give someone else the keys to your safe or change the combination. And I refused. And he said, then I have to write you up as non-compliant. I said, Doc, listen, I'm a career Marine. I got over 17 years on active duty. I don't need a firearm if I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I'm not locking them up. Something happens in the middle of the night. My family's going to be protected. That's it. If I decide to, it doesn't matter if I have a firearm or not. So I got
Mm-hmm.
that little entry in my file.
Yeah, of
Whatever.
course. Yeah. The VA does more to contribute to suicide than they do to actually help.
Oh,
Now,
and
here's the thing.
the
Yeah.
crisis line, the VA crisis line.
Joke.
In one of my 100% groups, somebody posted, "Hey, I'm having some issues. Should I call?" Last time I looked at it, there were 45 responses, 44 saying, "Call anyone but them first if you're in crisis." And one of those
Mm-hmm.
was mine,
Yeah.
because not too far distant from that, my wife was out of town, going to be back in about 2 hours. I had an issue. She called next door to Bronze Star combat vet. He wasn't home. His wife came
Mm-hmm.
over. I said, "I don't want to talk to you. Leave me alone. I'm okay. Me and my dog, I'm waiting for my wife." So she went to the neighborhood gossip, laid it all out. And the neighborhood
Oh,
gossip said,
hell.
"We need to call the Veterans Crisis Line for his own good. He's a combat vet." Yeah, 6 deputies, me on my leg braces, my garage. I ended up bruised and 40 hours in solitary confinement without my leg braces. I eventually got it expunged and tossed, but only after a year of supervised probation and
Mm-hmm.
and a hell of a lot of money. Sorry, a whole lot of money.
Yeah. What I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to say to the audience, what I'm going to say to the audience is this: I have perfectionist dickhead issues from hell. I don't know if anybody's noticed that. The people I'm maddest at are the people who have this. They love to say reach out to somebody, but then when they get online, they go into full on amateur Facebook psychiatrist mode, where the only diagnosis they have is that you're angry and you should just shut up. And it's like, that's the worst thing you could do. And the reason I keep harping about, us getting back to the basics of communication and respect is, had I talked to you the way some of these people that had talked to me, like a few of the people I've had a falling out with, had we switched
They would have
places
been
and
cleaning
they'd
up
be
my
in my
van the
place,
next morning right there in the VA parking lot. They would have been cleaning up my van the next morning in the parking lot is exactly what would have happened.
You would have shoved that revolver in your mouth, and that would have been the end of it. And it's like, we need to get back. We need to get back to the basics of respect. So I'll never apologize for being Spazmaster Flex, the bad guy that I was downrange. But what I will say is, yes, I'm going to own the fact that I'm an interrogator when I'm I'm the bad guy. That's fine. But we need to get to where we're not just running our mouths, barfing up cliches about call us, we care. What I even said to you, my goal is to make you feel far less messed up in the head than what you were when we first talked on the phone. And I'm hoping I accomplished that mission at least a little bit. But no, this
I'm
needs
still here.
So I didn't do half bad. Okay, cool. But no,
Hey.
What I wanted, and I had to friend you because it's like, if I didn't, I'd be that bro vet that just does
He's
something
one
to
of
look
those.
good.
He's one of those. Nothing I can do. Why should I try?
Right. My thing is, we need
He's
to get
so
back
broken.
to the.
Yeah.
We need to get back to the basics, the uber basics of respect and talking to each other again like this. We need to get back to the small unit tactics of basic conversation. Okay, that's
Talking to,
my
not
thing.
talking at. Exactly.
Exactly.
Talking to, not talking at.
All right. Now that we got that out of the way, okay, now that we've demonstrated that we're certifiably insane veterans, why don't we start with you, like, as far as injuries and problems while you were like on active duty? Why don't we start talking about that, some of the dumb stuff that got you in that chair to begin with?
Actually, I was very fortunate. I was an O2 officer, primarily with special operations units. When I first joined, I thought I would be enlisted and was going to work on the onboard computers of Harrier jets. Well, in the mid and late 80s, the Air Force and the Marine Corps had a program. They would send you to college, books, fees, tuition, supplies, and a stipend. On paper, you were in the reserves. No weekend drill, no summer camp. And I said, okay, I might be 18 and out of the projects at best, but I'm not stupid. What's the catch? And there were two. You could never make less than a B, and you had 3 years to have a degree. And I said, okay, deal. I'd been on my own since 16, finished high school. I can do this. So 83 Paris Island, changed my contract, went to college, did 86, 87, the old, what they call Bulldog OCS, half junior, half senior year, and then commissioned in 87, 02, and then later became an 0202 because I refused command billets. And they said, you might be lucky to someday put on wings. I don't care. I'm not going to ride a desk. They didn't believe me. So I submitted my papers to resign my commission. They made me an 0202, and I stayed in the field. Had, a few little things running, well, compared to the big ending, ranging from a knife wound to a broken orbital to catching around in the right shoulder on February 28th of 91. Yeah, Highway 18 over close to the coast. For most folks, Desert Storm vets even know Highway 8. 18 is closer to the coast and where Republican Guard and all the important stuff went up. Army and Marine Corps both selected teams, and we had to go vehicle to vehicle, making sure no one survived what was an air atrocity. I mean, a war crime. There was no excuse for what we did when they were all leaving. I mean, Saddam agreed to all but one of the points that Bush wanted. Anyway, went through all that, got several more tours under my belt. January of 04, I made a mistake. 3 other team leaders had declined an assignment, which means it's a scrub. So I didn't have any pressure. I let the colonel talk me into it. I went to the pool. That's those that are physically and psychologically cleared to go out again. I said, hey, this is not going to be fun. It's going to be a shit show, but it's important. Who wants to go? Marines, more paws went in the air than what I needed. Apartment building in Kirkuk. The resistance, as it was known in those days, was trying to help us, had several hundred pages of documents, no way to scan, email, stuff like that. So we went to get it. Best I know, about a minute and a half after we went in the apartment building, in came 32 to 35 Bath Party, former Republican Guard. That kind of sucked, and we danced hand to hand. We were on the 4th floor of the apartment building, and I got thrown through a window and landed on the sidewalk. I broke over 70% of the bones in my body, most major joints, and instantly became over 2 inches shorter.
Wow.
Initially, because of spinal cord swelling, from the navel down, nothing would even twitch. Nothing.
Wow.
That led to issues, obviously, because you question yourself, your worth, your manhood, because, hey, it's all tied up in that. Thankfully, I had been a serious gym rat since the age of 15. 5'6", 195 pounds, 30-inch waist, weight waiver from day one, obviously. It eventually settled in from the top of the kneecap down, 0. They might as well be a block of wood. Matter of fact, a few years ago, accidentally ran a drill bit halfway through my right foot and didn't know it until I moved the board. They're just there. From the top of the kneecap to the navel, patchy 0 to 30. But hey, we're men, let's be honest. About 2 years after the injury, equipment started working. You understand why that's important better than most. To this day, doctors say, I'm looking at your CT myelogram. That's impossible. And I'm like, you want a video, pictures? You want references? What do you want? It works. I have currently my lower jaw, both elbows, ball and socket shoulder all replaced, and every vertebrae except 5 thoracic from C2 to the sacrum have hardware holding them together.
Wow.
So far, if you count all of them to put me back together, 19 months before I finally got out of the hospital, I've had 39 surgeries, 34 of them bone, joint, and spine. Most days, obviously the day you and I met, I wasn't. I'm able to remember that, hey, I got to raise my girls. I wake up beside a beautiful lady every day. I've got 4 men that came home in boxes that never got that chance.
Yeah. So
what we have to do is we have to find what it is that motivates us. Find what it is that's going to keep us here.
Mm-hmm.
Me, uh, dogs and other vets. We'll get to that later. We had talked about that. But everybody's got to find something, whether it's volunteering or starting a business. I did that for about a decade.
Mm-hmm.
It got to where money didn't matter anymore because, I mean, projects are the best place I'd ever lived. I've worked
Mm-hmm.
since I was 12, paid my own bills since 15, been alone since 16. Once
Mm-hmm.
I was clearing six figures and not having to work anymore, thanks, Master Gunny, for telling me put away 20% of everything, all
Mm-hmm.
deployment pay, all hazard pay, all combat pay, and never touch it. And I did.
Mm-hmm.
I let it grow till I was 50 years old and then said, I don't rely on anybody for anything. The VA could
Mm-hmm.
cut me off and I would still be okay.
Yeah.
Economically paranoid, but I put it to my advantage.
Mm-hmm. That's insane, dude. For me, right now, I'm trying to get back in school, but the fight with the VA is I'm financially I'm in the opposite boat that you are. I'm flat broke, but I'm managing. The plan is to get that book published. If you ever want to write a book, let me know because not only did I do that, but I'm working on a writing guide, which is basically an AAR for the book. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a grammatical editor. I'm a psychological editor. My job
Right.
is to get the content, that story. We get that story from your brain into a book. Holy crap. That's all I'm going to say. But no, my job is to get the maximum amount of content as pure, as raw, as authentic, and as potent and as controversial as possible from your brain to the laptop/notebook. Okay. Okay. So if you ever want to do that, let me know and we'll get started on that. No. So we've talked about your injuries. How has the VA been as far as taking care of you?
Well, a whole lot better when I first came home.
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, my beloved and I have been together for 11 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And I made it home August of 05. So let's
Yeah.
just say she stepped in and took the package deal of me, two preschool age girls in a wheelchair when their mother decided that if my legs couldn't work, didn't matter what else, that I was no longer a man.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about a very special lady.
That's horrible.
There was, when I first came home, this VA here, VA Mountain Home,
Mm-hmm.
right in Johnson City, Tennessee,
Mm-hmm.
was still in the top 10, but I didn't want to go there. Anybody that cared about me didn't want me to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Today, in most cases, in an emergency, I'll go there before I will the level 1 trauma center civilian hospital. Things have
Mm-hmm.
changed a lot, especially at least here. I don't know about other VAs here.
Mm-hmm.
The last 7 to 8 years have been really good. The last
Mm-hmm.
5, gee, I wonder what went on 4 of those. Things really, really accelerated, especially in
Mm-hmm.
the new enhanced community care versus the old fee basis. I
Oh
mean, the old
yeah.
fee basis, I had my replacement shoulder come apart, drop 4 inches down, and it was strapped to my torso for 371 days before I ever saw the civilian surgeon, when all 5 VA surgeons said, I won't even try it.
Mm-hmm.
But today, hey, most of my major care, my shoulder surgeon, my spine surgeon, my hernia surgeon, etc., they're all civilian doctors.
Yeah.
The modern incarnation of community care is much better if they would just do 10 times better on writing the checks on time, because there is no excuse for veterans going to collections for unpaid medical bills. I have 0 negative entries on my credit bureau other than that. 0.
They've destroyed my credit.
And you're one of hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
Which is
So
sad, but it's true.
yeah. And my problem with the VA here is I've had my Wounded Warrior Project guy will not admit it. That he'll never admit it on camera. He's told me they don't like you at all. They don't. If I want something, guaranteed, they will. They don't even say what the federal or the VA regulation is. They just say federal/VA regulations dictate you have to go with this option. This is your option is draconian garbage. You want to shove pills down my throat and you want to shove a pump in there. And it's like, no, forget it. No. Well, we have that as an option. As a zero
Well,
option is direct. Yeah. Go ahead.
I went round and round with them. When I first came home, every 28 days, delivered to my front door was a 500 milliliter, half a liter, so just over a pint of morphine suspension, 20 milligrams per teaspoon. And over a pint showed up at my front door every 28 days. Then they came through and said, "You're an addict. We need to put you on pills." I said, "I want off the pills." No. I want off the pills. No. And it got to the point that a good day, 60 milligram oxy, 4 to 6 times a day. That's a good day. If I was feeling good when I woke up. Muscle relaxers, 3 anxiety meds, 2 of them 3 times a day, 1 when I need it, nightmare suppressants and sleeping meds. Well,
yeah,
the VA isn't real thrilled about it, but you see this right here?
Oh, yeah.
Various strains in less than 90 days. I got rid of all of it with no side effects and no withdrawals. And you know what? All the pills were free. This comes out of my pocket, and everything in my life is better. And all my doctors have had to admit it. All of my labs, my health, my sleep, my attitude, my behavior, my psych profile with a lot fewer dips, everything is better without all those pills.
Actually,
but all they want to do is stuff pills down your throat and put you in the corner so you're no longer a problem. Doesn't work for this old boy.
I'm going to tell you, I went up to Ohio to get treated by that doctor. Oh, by the way, I just got my blood test results back, and we're literally going to turn my blood test results into a testosterone for dummies class. You're going to want to turn into that. That's going to be highly informative. I forgot to take my metformin with me. Literally, I had it in a bag. It was the one damn bag I forgot to grab. My blood sugars are fine. No joke. My A1C is still under 6. It was 12.7 in frickin' New Jersey in July 2019 when I was in that 2-day diabetic coma.
Right.
So I've been in the gym lifting like a lunatic, and once I get my back tire, my bike fixed, I'm going to be back to bike riding to the gym until I get my Jeep fixed. Yeah, that thing. I just need a new A to B vehicle because that thing is in such bad shape. It's not even funny, but we'll get into that later. Now, check it out. I forgot, and it's like I haven't been taking my meds because I got off of them, and they had to switch metformin meds at manufacturers because the last one had a high percentage of cancer-causing agents in it, and the nurse's exact words were, "Oh, you were only on those for a year." I'm like, "Are you tone deaf?
Oh, only a year, yeah.
Mind? This is a VA nurse at the pharmacy, no joke. Yeah. So I haven't been getting back on it because I
can say to this day, although the level of irritation because of community care not paying the bills is higher, the most common place that I have issues more than everywhere else combined is the pharmacy.
Oh, yeah.
They're freaking idiots there. And as a matter of fact, because of, she admitted it later, because they have keystroke logs. And so you can talk to the inpatient or outpatient pharmacy manager and find out everything that happened. Had someone that I had an antibiotic change, was fighting meningitis. Anything I need to know? Nope, go ahead. It doesn't matter, food, not, just take it. Okay. Day and a half later, I'm in ICU. Something called serotonin syndrome. Look that one up, Mickey. It'll scare you. And the only reason, she got 3 FDA black box warnings, hit override, and told her supervisor it was 17 minutes past my time to go home. I thought it would be okay. She only got a letter because, unions, the equivalent of when professors are protected, tenure. She's been in the union long enough. I didn't die. I ended up okay despite ICU for a week and more. So she only got a letter. Nothing else even in her freaking personnel file. My life, 3 FDA black box warnings, and 17 minutes after her time to clock out, and she hit bypass on all of them. Override, sorry.
I literally have said to my Wounded Warrior Project guy, as long as you're not clinically dead when you part company with them, they don't care. You literally just validated what I just said. You literally just validated it. That's insane.
Well, the reason I was fighting meningitis to begin with, this was 2013. I had spine surgery. I had busted loose 8 pieces of hardware when a moose hunt went bad in Alaska. Horse fall over, high back saddle, you're strapped in, things go bad. Anyway, got back here, had the surgery, civilian hospital, doing great for 9 days. It was going to be 30 days plus inpatient. They moved me to the VA.
Oh.
I left after 17 days when I could smell my back. I heard the conversation in the hall. They knew there was MRSA. They knew there was serratia marcescens, and something the VA lab couldn't identify. University of Tennessee, Knoxville eventually did. And it ate a lot of my back away, led to 7 episodes of meningitis hospitalization, then a 27-day hospitalization, 9 days on life support, and a 6-day completely non-responsive, we're talking corneal reflex, not even there, coma, and them telling my wife and daughters, turn off the machines, there's no chance. Because the freaking VA in 2013 lacked simple, basic cleanliness procedures.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to say. We are actually, I've got a small group in my private chat. We're working on establishing a parallel network of doctors to where the VA would just pay the bill. Okay.
Right.
We need to get, what we're doing right now is we're trying to get a parallel network set up. We're trying to get like one office set up to where we're getting all this stuff going because of your horror story that you just told. Okay. Your horror
is
story
not uncommon.
And that's the true tragedy that it's common practice. So we need
Thankfully,
to get
my shoulder, knee, and hip surgeons are all at Knoxville Orthopedic Clinic in Knoxville. It's about 95 miles away, but well worth it. My spine surgeon, the man that's done my last 5 spine surgeries, big major corporation came in, bought everybody out, told him, hey, yeah, you might be the best, but you're losing double digits on every procedure with your contract renewal. He left. He's now 4 hours away. I followed him. When he went to the new practice, they said, we don't take VA patients. He said, I take a lot of them. You recruited me. Fix it. And he did.
Nice.
He made sure it got fixed. And I mean, think about it. When I had my most recent lumbar surgery, it's just over 3.5 hours one way. I knew going in, it would be 3 to 5 weeks inpatient time. Wow. And paying to put my wife in a hotel because there's not a Fisher House down there was still worth it to go see him.
Wow.
He is that good. I don't have exactly a easily fixed spine.
No, I wouldn't let a VA doctor touch me. No, I actually had. Okay, let me tell you a little story. I have you've heard of a pilonidal cyst in your tailbone, right?
Yes.
I've had 2 surgeries now. One back when I was on active duty in the Corps, like still in boot camp. No, it was after boot camp. It was while I was still in the Corps and active duty from 94 to 98. I had a second one, I want to say before my first deployment. And they want to do a third operation on me. I'm like, I want you to talk to whatever department deals with like laser hair removal. That way, when you close it up, that it'll be good. And they're like, no, they couldn't find evidence to suggest that it's a good idea. I'm like, this will be the 3rd time you guys have operated on me. And that's what sends me to a dimension of anger I don't like to be, is the fact that I'm like, well, as far as pain is concerned, okay, here's where most cysts are for pilonidal cysts for most people. Mine was down here all the way on the spine. The only thing that was separating was a piece of, I am normally very anti-medication, especially when it comes to the VA. Okay. They had me on Vicodin and I was taking that stuff like candy. Like you could have put me on a morphine drip and I would have been getting a schoolboy. And the pain, like if you hit a bump in the road, it's like somebody just ran 10,000 volts up your spine. Okay.
Yeah.
I've had 2 of those surgeries. I said, I want this to be the last surgery because you get it right. Because like every 6 months or so, it'll just bleed. I'll sit down on the toilet. It'll be like a trophy butt that just got shot. Okay. Like I just,
that's worse than hemorrhoids.
Oh yeah. So
Well, I've seen it. It's worse than hemorrhoids, definitely.
Yeah, and it was the low. Okay, you're in the gym and you got that leg curl machine where you're laying on your belly and you got your hands on the on those handles to hold on, right?
Right.
When they change your dressing, they have that same kind of table and they have I'm sweating, I'm crying, and I'm struggling not to scream blood. It's like I'm this close to screaming bloody murder. And because the VA was paying for it, they were trying to get me to change my own dressings as quickly as humanly possible. Because I literally heard one of them say the VA is about to cut off the funding for this, so we got to get him out of here. My sister went to take one look at my dressing. She said it was like I had the Grand Canyon in my ass crack. She had her nurse friend, one of her female nurse friends with her. She says I had to hand my nurse friend the new dressing and sit down before I fell down. And it's like I explained that to the doctor. I says, "You really think I'm going to let you operate on me a fourth and a fifth? Oh, it'll be fine. Oh, it'll be fine." No, I ended up not getting the surgery because they basically said, "Screw you." I told the nurses, "They're going to say no. I guarantee you." "Oh, you don't know that." I come back a week later. They said no, and she was as condescending and backhanded as the nurse that said I was only on the metformin that had cancer-causing agents for a year.
Well, another perfect example, though much smaller, of completely asinine rules just for the sake of rules. Mm-hmm. The way our VA is laid out, you've got the main hospital building, and that's also where the pharmacy is, radiology, et cetera, et cetera. A smaller building has the DOM and primary care. Mm-hmm. So you've got those two side by side. Mm-hmm. Then on the other side of the DOM primary care is a new, as in maybe 3-year-old, multi-level parking structure. Mm-hmm. There in the parking structure, there are 3 designated places for SCI, spinal cord injury patients. Mm-hmm. Because on the whole VA campus, there's not a lot of places that are wide enough to get a wheelchair ramp out. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Tennessee is one of the states, and also it's federal law anyway, shouldn't be, that anyone with a handicap permit can park there. Some states have van-only spots. Mm-hmm. Doesn't exist on federal property, nor in this state. Mm-hmm. I drove around. On Saturday, I had medicines, 2 of them to pick up that weren't ready on Friday. Okay. Couldn't find anything. So I went and parked in the parking garage. Got my service dog, my 7-month-old service dog trainee, Saturday, first time to the VA. Good day for it. Head in, get stopped for, any symptoms, any exposure, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. No. And he said, "Wait, are you a DOM patient?" And I said, "No." He said, "Where are you going?" I said, "To the pharmacy in the main building. I need the elevator." He said, "You can't." I said, "Why?" He said, "It's weekend." I said, "So?" He said, "Weekends and after hours, only DOM patients and employees can even come in, much less pass through." I said, "What?" And he said, "That's what I was told." "I'm sorry, sir." I said, "I want somebody from DOM operations. They run this building now." They came down. They verified. So then back across the parking lot, cross the street, load me, the dog trainee in, drive around more, eventually find a place, go in, do it. Monday, I called in. I'm pretty pissed. I talked to my clinic coordinator. "Hey, Chris, what's going on? You ever heard of this?" I've never heard this man in 7 years use a piece of profanity in a professional setting. Wow. He came out with 3 of them. Wow. Spinal cord injury clinic, just a little bit important. We're the only people that have our designated parking places for a reason. He hadn't heard a thing about it. Called the chief of the DOM. "Yeah, we had to do that. There were just too many unauthorized visitors and too much foot traffic. So no one can." He said, "So what am I supposed to do?" "Well, you need to tell all of your spinal cord injury patients that after 1700 during the week and on weekends basically from 1700 during the week and then from 1700 on Friday to 07 on Monday, you cannot enter unless you're an employee or live in the DOM." Yeah. Blamed it on COVID, unauthorized visitors, and drug use. And I'm wanting to get on an elevator, go up 2 floors, and roll across to the pharmacy. People trying to justify their own existence.
Mm-hmm.
Because if nothing else, the coronavirus shutdown has shown not nearly as many people are important or necessary as they think they are.
Oh, no. A lot of the worthless, useless caseworkers at my hospital, they're all working from home now. Even the ones that lost my HUD-FAST paperwork, and with the reason I was living in my Jeep on VA campus because it was the safest place. Yeah. Although the cops who threw me out and let me sleep in my Jeep were nice enough to bring me their crappy little meals that they had, so I had something to eat. Yeah, awfully sweet of them. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay.
How did you ever get into doing these podcasts?
Oh, I'll tell you
I've
about
never asked you that.
Okay. It was January 5th. I just got done having, a bad. I had a little fling. It was great. It was cute. It was fun. And I was in a bad place because of everything that was going on I was fighting with the VA, and when my Wounded Warrior Project guy comes out and says they don't like you, I don't understand, but they really, really, really don't like you. I was angry as hell, and I was so mad. I literally I've done this a couple of times just out of sheer frustration. I literally texted my Wounded Warrior Project guys. As part of me was always going to resent you for saving my ass in New Jersey. If this is going to be my miserable existence, I said to him, I wish you had never saved my ass in New Jersey. That was at 1:05 Sunday afternoon, like the first week in January, and 5 minutes later, Goose, one of the HMFICs, just 5 minutes later, he texts me, he says, "You want a show?" I kind of looked up. I'm like, okay, this is my sign. So here I am, So I'm going to be doing.
So your podcast is like my big dogs and training them and stuff is for me. It's what keeps you going sometimes when, you really can't find any other reason.
Well, right now I've got to get out of my bedroom. I got to get moved out into the living room because my isolation has been bad. But no, I'm going to be doing interviews with guys like you who have been through hell with the VA, because apparently I'm on this VA hospital in Salisbury. Apparently I'm on their radar right now because two guys, one of who is a CVSO, he knows about the interview, or I called him out on some stuff. I don't call anybody out by name, but they end up figuring out who they are. They won't even get within 10 feet of me now.
Well, see, I'm the same way. I'm seen the same way at this VA, but the difference is, having been to the DAV Service Officer Academy at UC Denver, worked for them and worked for the PVA. Yeah, my health meant years ago I had to leave it behind and come home. That's great. I still stay up on all the regs and all the laws. And 2 to 5 times a week, I've got vets contacting me. Hey, what do I do about this claim? What do I do about this? Or how do I fix this on my medical care? And so, there's a lot of the, self-important bureaucrats that don't like me, but I know the rules better than their bosses do. You can't win. And I tell them that. You want to fight, or you want to just go ahead and say yes now? Because you're going to lose. And they always do, which pisses them off more. But you know what? I earned it.
And that's
I broke all of me. I earned it.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing. The one Wounded Warrior Project guy I had filing my claim told my Wounded Warrior Project caseworker, he's like, how in the hell is he not 100% for PTSD? He's got all the signs. He's got all the struggles. But they just refuse. And the new guy who replaced him is like, oh yeah, they seem really receptive to setting up a new interview for your comp and pen, and then all of a sudden, oh no, they turned it down. You can't file ever again. It's one of those. If you file again, we're gonna screw you. We're gonna screw you out of what little you have. Okay. So yeah, I completely and
we need to talk offline about that. Yeah. We need to talk offline about that.
Yeah, we'll talk offline about that. But yeah,
can't help but have another set of eyes on it.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. My Wounded Warrior Project guy, he's trying to help me get funding to go back up to Ohio to get all this procedure done with his doc, who I met. Okay, it was Nick Kalamatsus, who did a podcast about male sexual health. He introduced me to Allie. Oh, we lost him for a sec there. Okay, he'll be back in a minute, but I'll keep explaining. I went from Nick Kalamatsu's doing a podcast about male sexual health. Went from that to
we got another storm system coming through.
Okay.
Around here, but
we'll just keep going. Okay, so we went from Nick. I went from Nick Kalamatsu's. He's a Marine too. He did a podcast about male sexual health, right? The female he had on there who was a penis expert, her name is Allie Gilbert. I got her hooked up.
I married one of those. Never mind.
Yeah, we'll save that for another time. So she introduced me to my current doctor, Eric Feet, up in Ohio, who specializes in that stuff. I just shelled out $320 out of pocket through my GoFundMe, which I only got $313 because, well, GoFundMe they don't really help out veterans. They don't elevate them. They just share it and hope for the best. And yeah, my GoFundMe crashed and burned. But yeah, I just shelled out $320 for a blood panel where they took 9 damn tubes of blood out of me. And if we can ever get the funding so I can go back up there, I'll go back up there, stay at my buddy's place, and I'll get permission from him. We'll literally turn every podcast into they're gonna do a procedure on me, and we'll put it on the oh boy, I think you still there? Okay, you're still sort of there.
I'm here. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. We'll put that on the podcast because Pimp, the Redneck Pimp, the other co-HMFIC, he likes to say, if you're laughing, you're not crying. Well, I kind of played with that a little. I'm going to put myself out there in just such a way, and in just such a way as to say, well, if you're laughing, that takes some of the sting out of the stigma. I want to take some of the sting out of the stigma of male sexual health by putting myself through it so they'd be like, well, I mean, he literally put it on a podcast for all the world to see, so I have no excuse. I'm going to go get the help that I need. But I won't be able to go to the VA, so what I want us to do, I want us to get a network of doctors that the VA has no control over. They have no say in anything. They just pay the bill, okay? Because they sent me to a doctor for PTSD, and it was just a group Zoom where I spent about 2 minutes saying about half of what was on my mind, because as soon as I started going into veteran mode, oh, you can't say that. So it was literally the most worthless. But because it's the VA, it's the cheapest doctor, the easiest option. They don't actually care if it works. They'll say it's an option. It's an option. And I'll say, your option is literally draconian garbage, dude. It is literally draconian garbage. And they're like,
but see, as long as they're paying the bill, they think they're in charge. But they're not.
And my Wounded Warrior Project guy at one point really he won't admit it, but he tried to get me to consider that option. I'm like, no, I am not going to let them surgically insert a pump in my pecker and shove a whopping 4 to 8 Viagra pills down my throat a month, because that's all they allot. That's all they allot you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When mine was completely zero, for, I don't know, probably 1.5 years, pushing 2 after I got out of the hospital. And it's like, really? Even if that did any good for me, which it didn't, 4 pills a month? Really? That's not a week when things work. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And, for me, it was so weird because I was still trying to accept that it was never going to come back. And, little things here and there, and something would twitch. And then one morning I woke up and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Where have you been? And then it didn't happen again for like 6 or 7 weeks. And I had no control over it. And then slowly it took from the time the first surprise, close to 2 years. And then as long as I stay on my HRT, I don't have any trouble whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that that's definitely a rarity with my level of spinal cord injury.
Yeah, and for me, it's according to my doc, the text he just sent me today, we got to work on my glucose and my blood and my A1C, obviously, but there's other stuff we got to work on too. And I'm assuming there's a testosterone issue there because what we're trying to do, and God help me, I played the bad guy with a veteran charity organization that I shouldn't have, that'll remain nameless for now. I didn't curse anybody out, but I said what was on my mind. I got to get to have a good guy to say, hey, you need to understand what his struggle is. You need to appreciate his struggle. No, the big three are PTSD, diabetes, and low T. Those are the big three problems for veterans. It's a three-headed monster.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a three-headed monster that we need doctors to hone in on and focus on. And the VA won't do that. The VA views the diagnosis is for the VA is the equivalent to the NBOM.
Because the rating schedule is still set, from back in the 40s, looks at impact on earning potential. So therefore, you don't get, fine, you get, lots of use of a creative organ, $50 a month or something, but that's it. They don't understand because it's not, necessary for work. So you're not compensated because in the 40s, they didn't look at compensating people for true impairment, only for employment impairment. Our rating schedule, even with the little small adjustments, is decades and decades out of common sense even.
They'll never change it because that's the cheapest, easiest way for them to make sure they keep costs down. That's literally it. As long as they keep costs down and their directors and their managers keep getting bonuses. Literally.
Yeah.
I
know.
Yeah.
Oh, our former prosthetics chief ended up getting jacked because his bonuses tied to how much was spent, and somebody blew the whistle and submitted the private or whatever secure emails where he said, well, no, we need to find this percentage of average claims to deny because it will result in this. And he was kicking downstream the bonuses. He's long gone, but it's still because you got your eyes open.
That's SOP for them. And the only thing they regret is getting caught. And even when they get caught,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's
all that they care about what's right or anything else, just whether they get caught.
All right.
And if they've got enough time under their belt in the union, then it doesn't even matter if they get caught.
They're bulletproof once they've got tenure. All right. Let's move on because you got a storm coming in. Let's move on to so we've gotten through problems in the service. We've gotten through problems with an injury after the service. What are you doing now? What are you doing now as far as
let's quick rundown. After leaving the Corps and time in the hospital, then working as a service officer, came home and found business loved my experience, my resume, the telephone, the video interviews. They see the chair and it's like, okay, my bachelor's is PR and marketing. I've got all this experience handling groups and understanding them, and I've got an MBA. You're hiring my brain and my mouth, but they wouldn't do it. So I said, screw you. Started my own business. Started out with a scratch desk in what should have been our breakfast nook. 11 years later, shut it down. I had 6 full-time employees and was clearing more from that than from my military retirement. Now, full-time, I'm the founder and frequently referred to as leader of the pack for a volunteer organization called Big Paws for a Bigger Cause. We take Puritolean, Great Pyrenees Anatolian Shepherd crosses, or Great Pyrenees pups, evaluate, train, and place with other disabled vets as their service dog trainees. We have every training referral necessary, from a book to online one-on-one tutors to, hey, here's recommendations and referrals for, and shall we say, in-house or residential dog training program. And if you need fundraising services, we have those as well. So unless somebody just wants to, we're putting these dogs in vets' hands at no charge whatsoever. And then the ones that aren't right for service dogs, which all of them aren't, then we have what we call reserve families that are on standby that might at any given time be able to take a pup 4 to 12, 13 months old. Nothing wrong as a pet, livestock guardian, guardian pet, whatever. Just not right as a service dog. Now, these dogs aren't right for most people. Average size is 125 to 140. Most stubborn breeds in the world. And you don't do, I'm alpha, I will make you. You treat and train them different from other dogs, but for the right people, especially those with mobility issues or somebody who just personality, they prefer a big dog. Somebody that falls down, they need something big enough to push on to get up. These dogs are perfect. They're great for PTSD dogs because they're easygoing, got a nice loving dogs. But for 3 millennia, Anatolians and Pyrenees both have been livestock guardians and royal security. They have got that edge. There's that line. You don't have to worry about somebody coming in your house or stepping over the line when you've got one of those dogs beside you. And I get the benefit. I get to work with my favorite dogs for the last 30 years, my favorite dogs in the world, and, well, help other vets too, which, you know, hey, we're family, so it's pretty cool.
My first dog, it reminds me of my first dog. My first dog was a combination German Shepherd St. Bernard. That was a big dog.
Oh, yes.
He got hit by a Toyota. Here's how loyal that dog was. Yeah, I've never owned one since. He did not die until he made it home to the front lawn. Yeah. Man, I miss that dog. Anyways, yeah, that's good that you're doing that. I'm glad you're doing that full time, and that's got you back to a lot better place. So,
absolutely. You know, I had to admit, after over 50 years, you know, all of my tricks and talents and mechanisms that got me through violent alcoholic mother and father and various and sundry and crap family and life and worse. And then the injuries and everything that had always worked so well, suddenly none of it was working. And that was a hard pill to swallow because I'm going, hey, look at him. He does everything. Everything's great. He always makes it through everything. And suddenly I struggled to get out of bed, much less leave the house. And I said, I got to find something. And yeah, I even had to reach out, and my psychologist is a man bun wearing hybrid driving liberal, but he's helping me. So I'm still kind of concerned about that. I mean, how far did I fall that's where I got an answer?
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, that's got to be a weird dynamic. That's got to be a real weird dynamic.
Yeah. Well, yeah, as in I went from a LDS church bishop psychologist to no one to the man bun liberal.
That's got to be a hell of a shock to your system, dude. That is wild.
Well, wow. I'll tell you. Well, I like I said, I had to admit I was out of answers. Yeah. The psychologist that I'd been seeing every month or so for 6 years admitted he couldn't help me anymore. Yeah. And I said, appreciate the honesty. I can do it on my own. And then I crashed. I crashed like I have not since I was in a body cast and laying in a hospital for 1.5 years.
Yeah, that's a hard fall.
I mean, when you can't feed yourself or wipe yourself for over 1 year, because I was in a neck brace, my jaw was wired shut, both arms were in cast from wrist to armpit, and had a body cast from armpits all the way to the toes. And none of those came off for almost 8 months. Wow. Yeah, pride, arrogance, I can do it all. I crashed hard. If I had been physically able, I would have checked out. I'm glad that by the time I was physically able to do it, I'd gotten it through my thick skull. Hey, dummy, you're not in a box. 4 of your men are. Now tell me why you got the right to complain. Yeah, you know, I still haven't come up to an answer with that one yet.
That's good.
You're almost out of time, brother.
Well, let me say it like this. I'm going to get you introduced to Redneck Pimp and Goose, the two co-founders of Will Entertainment. We can keep going for a little bit, but what I'm going to say to you is this. What I'm doing right now, I'm trying to get my book published. I'm writing a cookbook. You'll love that, because that was the end result of me sucking up to my editor and my publisher. Oh, I got to here. Yeah, we got another hour, dude. We can keep on going. Don't even worry about it.
Okay, I've got a commitment coming up that I've got to drive to in 20 minutes. I thought it was only till 1900. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
that's fine. That's fine. No, you know what?
I misunderstood.
We'll wrap this up, and you know what? If you want to come back on another time, we can keep on going, and we can talk about more stuff,
Sure, I'd love to.
and we can fight with a
I would love to.
Here's what we'll do.
Go ahead.
I'll get you introduced to Redneck Pimp and Goose, and we'll get you plugged in with them so we can get other veterans getting dogs that need them, and we can get you.
Absolutely.
We can keep you.
Absolutely. And
yeah, we can keep you busy. And what I'm going to do, if you ever want to write a book about your insane life, you're coming to me and I'll help you write it because I learned all the ways to not write a book. Between two deployments and writing the book, I always like to say I have 6 to 8 brain cells that are still fully functioning, but that's about it. So I'm going to help you.
I understand completely.
Oh, hey, wait. April Miller, can I use part of this interview for a promo video? She wants to know. April Miller is one of the
regarding
people,
me, or
she's doing a promo video to try to set things up to get our to get us to where we're we're trying to get it to where we're getting set up to where.
Absolutely, yeah. You use any part of it you want to, April. Use
April,
any part,
you got the word.
You
go.
Want.
Okay, April, go. Start working on now. Okay, there you go. All right, we'll consider this part 1.
Okay, before I get out of here, again, everybody, you can find us on Facebook, also on Instagram. Big Pause for a Bigger Cause. Peace out, brother. Love
Thanks,
you.
brother. All right. And that was Lewis Anderson. And I'm going to tell you right now, Lewis, April says thank you. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We did an interview. That man's life was insane. We're going to use all of this to get up in the face of the VA. We're going to find us a congressman. I haven't talked to my new congressman because, well, I don't know what the old congressman has told him because of my experiences with them. Sorry about that. I'm old and I'm stiff and I need to adjust from time to time. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. I'm an ornery, foul-mouthed, interrogating hellraiser. I think everybody pretty much knows that by now. So I'm going to try to use that in just such a way where the VA basically says, these people are not going to stop. They're not going to stop fighting for what they want. They're not going to, they're done accepting. What page is April on? Oh, she's one of my friends. She's on we got a private, yeah, okay. So what we're going to do is we're attempting to set up a separate network of doctors that the VA has no control over. And I'm not going to show you the bills themselves, but they're in here. This is about This is $1,300 worth of bills that the VA was in no hurry to pay, even though I went to my caseworker, showed him the bills. We sat on the phone with somebody at the VA in the black hole that is VA claims and bill paying and all that, okay? They're still coming after me for that because the VA, I am now convinced that the VA, it was fee basis, now it's community care. Pimp, I'll get the hang of your Native American language eventually, but again, 6 to 8 functioning brain cells. Be patient. No, we're trying to set up a network of doctors that's like a parallel economy, for lack of a better way of saying it. Okay. And like I mentioned, I had a shrink that my Wounded Warrior Project guy said, "Oh yeah, she seems really nice." And then we found out it was some Zoom group chat where everybody had like 2 or 3 minutes and it's guided along. It's generic. It's better than nothing. Psychology service, And basically, because I had to tone it down because my veteran speak was a little bit, what's the term I'm looking for? Um, yeah, it was a little too assertive and aggressive and rough for the civilians. So I hated every bit of it, but I got through it because it was the VA. And as soon as I didn't agree to whatever they wanted, then they would say I'm a problem. They will label you a problem as quickly as possible to keep you from getting good care because they want the cheapest care possible for you, especially if you're uninsured. If you're uninsured, you get bottom of the barrel bargain basement care. Okay. So the plan is April's in the group, and there's several other members of the group that we're trying to set it up to where we're getting some higher powered voices to help establish this network to where we're treating the three-headed monster of PTSD, diabetes, and low testosterone. Okay, that's what we're doing, and the podcast I keep referring to as Testosterone for Dummies. That's my doctor up in Ohio. We're literally going to teach you everything we can about this problem. We're gonna try to set up a network that addresses this three-headed monster of an issue, because the VA solution is shove a pump in the penis and then shove 4 to 8 Viagra pills down your throat a month, and we don't actually care if it actually works. Okay. Again, for the VA, diagnosis is the N word. Okay, it is flat out. I mean, so that's the plan there. We're going to set up that separate network. We're going to get a congressman involved, and we have to drag him kicking and screaming. Because let's face it, my last congressman in my district here, if I've done detainee ops. This book is about me doing detainee ops in my experience. And if this was a prison setting and these were the Congress largely is the prison girlfriend waiting to be violated. And the only reason they're enthusiastic about it is to cope with the fact that they're worthless and they know it. And the VA is 350 pounds of sexual chocolate wanting to love the Congress a long time over and over again. Okay. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. We're trying to set up a parallel network to where the VA just pays the bill and, like, if you believe in miracles, that they can pay it on time. So, again, I don't have bill collectors coming after me. And this is only $1,300 of the $63,000 they were originally coming after me for. And what the VA did was they pawned off those bills. The VA didn't actually pay the bill. They pawned off the bills on New Jersey's state charity, whatever the name of this charity, the charity network was in the state of for the state of New Jersey. So they didn't actually pay the bill. They just pawned it off on the state of New Jersey. So yeah, I'm going, if there are those of you in the VA, especially in Salisbury, North Carolina, I'm just going to come out and say it. I've always had a big mouth. You know that. Now I got a podcast. Now I got friends who loathe you and hold you in as much contempt as I do. We're going to fight you now. You can't just keep saying, "Oh, federal regulation is federal." No, we're done. Generation GWAT is going to build a network that you can't screw with, that you cannot influence them to provide the cheapest care possible so you can keep getting your bonuses. No. It's game on now. So okay. Now I'm going to transition into, I'm going to introduce, just briefly introduce. Okay, this is my book, The Fly Problem at Fob Crapper. This is the prototype that my now former publisher sent me, and we'll get into that mess later. But not only am I writing that book, I'm writing a cookbook, which is the end result of me sucking up to my editor, my publisher. And I apologize that I'm being so repetitive, but I really need you to believe in what I'm trying to do. One of Murphy's laws of combat operations, it's a beautiful rule. It's not my favorite, but it's up there. No plan ever survives first contact. So I wrote that book. Let's say I tell you, go ahead, write a book. It'll be cathartic. It'll be good for you, yada, yada, yada. I leave you to your own devices, and you're like, dude, you just told me to write a book, but you didn't help me. Got you. I'm uh, Pete Barlow from GI Low. We gotta get an email issue resolved. He and I are going to collaborate. I have the basic framework of the program. It's a writing program, but I am not I'm not a grammatical editor. I'm a psychological editor. My job is to get I both. Your VA is in Salisbury, you live there. Both, yes. This is your brain. This is the laptop, or the notebook or the index cards. Oh, and by the way, get a laptop and get a notebook and get index cards because they're all going to come in handy as I start. Once Pete and I get get this looked at, and he assesses it and says, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this. We're going to turn it into a working program. What it is my goal is to get the most raw, authentic, dysfunctional veteran contact from your brain to the writing medium, the laptop, the Mac, the laptop, the notebook, and the index cards. And you'll eventually find out why index cards are very valuable. And this is one of those painful lessons I had to learn. And here's the thing: if you're an old as dirt curmudgeon and you still want to write your book and you don't want to embrace technology, you're wrong. You will embrace technology, and here's why. Okay, this is not the phone that I used in July of 2019 when I got lost. So I go driving up to from here in Salisbury, North Carolina, up to Boston, Massachusetts for a program, for a two-week outpatient program, an IOP, intensive outpatient program. I drove up there. By the way, Northern North Carolina, Virginia, and West Virginia, and Pennsylvania are extremely beautiful this time of year. They really are. And I don't know why I'm gonna say this, but when I drove through West Virginia, I just put "Take Me Home, Country Roads" on loop from John Denver. I just screamed it the whole damn way, because I'm just cheesy like that. I just throwing that at you. But no, New York is surprisingly beautiful this time of year, and they have some really narrow roads that run through some really affluent suburbs. Oh, I cannot overstate how awesome that driving was, because it was like Indy car height. There you had about this much room between cars. Okay, it was an awesome, fun drive. The scenery was beautiful, so that was beautiful. Here's the thing: Google Maps. You drive up, and you've got Google Maps enabled, and you're using Google Maps, and you enable the avoid toll roads feature. If you don't enable the avoid toll roads feature on the way back, you'll get lost. I'm still a technology curmudgeon. I still hate it because it seems like it's for the younger generation who's a lot more receptive to it. Here's the thing: you need to embrace technology because I did not enable the avoid toll roads. In the writer's program, I have a list of all the tickets I had to pay because I had to run through the toll roads because I didn't have one of those things you're supposed to. You don't have to pay manually, and I ran up easily $80 to $100 worth of tickets. So yeah, no. Here's the thing: if you're old, you cannot be a curmudgeon about technology. You have to embrace it. You have to work with it. The biggest headache for me in writing the book and collaborating with 10 damn people was this was all before Zoom and whatever, So I was playing phone, Facebook, and email tag. And once you've had to collaborate with 10 different people, That will drive you to the brink of clinical insanity. And one thing you're going to learn now, I'm going to say this, and my friends and enemies will be like, "What the hell did you just say?" Hear me and hear me well. When you write a book and you collaborate with people on the book, because you see, I'm just going to leave this out. This book was not going to be nowhere near this thick because it was only going to be part 2 about the second juvenile murder. Part 1 was all of the collaborating that I had to. Part 1 was confirmations of this, and this happened, turned into collaborations. The collaborations of part 1 got so big, I had to separate them into parts 1 and 3 because some of the shorter stories you couldn't flesh into the main plot. You couldn't connect into the main plot. And when you're interviewing people, my friends and enemies, try not to fall over dead from the shock of what I'm about to say. You learn more about sensitivity when you're interviewing a veteran about his experiences downrange, because you can't, not only can you not censor them, you have to actively prevent them from censoring themselves. You can only say, "Hey, I need you to repeat that." You can't even say, "Are you sure?" You say, "Can you repeat that? And can you clarify?" Those are the only questions you're allowed to ask them. And then you take notes at breakneck speed and try to get it all. Okay. I had one guy say, "I won't be able to give you a story." He gave me 6 of them. 6. Okay. So you're going to learn about a lot about sensitivity, because you're going to call up your guys. "Oh, dude, I'm telling our story," and they're like, "Oh, I won't be able to give you anything." A week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, "Oh, dude, I remember this. And then all of a sudden you're taking notes at breakneck speed, and they'll do that 3 and 4 and 5 sessions. And, "Oh, I remember this." And at some point you're going to want to reach through the phone and choke them. "Why didn't you remember this sooner?" Okay. So I'm going to be a psychological editor, and I'm going to help you get basically it's like I'll get an old school ignition coil, an old school distributor, spark plug and spark plug wire, and then I'll get the coil on plug to illustrate. I want to shorten the gap between your brain and the laptop and the notebook and the index cards as much as humanly possible, because that is what will allow you to get the most raw, honest, "Holy crap, did he actually go through that" content. Okay. That's what I'm going to help you with. So it's going to be the book, the cookbook. And again, Pete Barlow is going to be my guinea pig as far as the cookbook is concerned, as far as making it as simple as possible. Like again, I'm going to go back to the Murphy's Law of Combat Operations. No plan ever survives first contact. The cookbooks, the book, the writing program, the cookbook, and a project that Matt Brooks and I are working on. It's our way of saying this is the simplest, easiest to work program humanly possible. You could be in the diabetic coma that I was in for 2 days and still work it. It is that simple. Go ahead, take this program, take this plan that's designed that will probably not survive first contact. Here, take this plan and blow it to hell. It's on me. That's my contribution to you. The simplest, easiest to work program possible. The purpose of this podcast is to document my fat carcass struggling to get down to 225 to look good for Warrior Fest, because I want that peace pipe. And I'm really, how much trouble would I get to for saying I really hope it's actually a functioning peace pipe? But yeah, we'll say that for another time. So yeah, he's going to come back on for another interview. Lewis is going to come back on for another interview, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to say this again. I want those of you who I've had a falling out with to understand why I am so protective of my guys. Okay. We need to get back to the basics of respect and simple conversation, because if you would have treated him the way you treated me, and if I would have treated, and I know what I am. I know what kind of a curmudgeon I am. I know how aggressive I am. If you would have just said, "You're angry, shut up," and he would have shoved that revolver in his mouth and he would have been dead. And I remember an old Master Sergeant, like War of 1812 old, when I was downrange in I was a Talil Adder. It was he said it to me in just such a way that it'll stick with me for the rest of my life. He related through the supply sergeant who was my supervisor. He said, "You need to develop a strong desire to not mess this up. If we want the veteran community to, at the very, again, I don't want to sing kumbaya with some of you jackasses, and I say that in the most loving way possible. If we could graduate up from skinning each other alive to basic respectful conversation, that would be like a miracle. And you can see what this country is going through right now. We need to stick together now more than ever, because we're a very small community, but we're a very volatile community, so to speak. And we need to, again, if we could just graduate up from skinning each other alive to basic respectful conversation to where we can coexist together and not kill each other, that would be beneficial, because we live 2020 and 2021 have been just Mad Max meets the Book of Revelation as far as just stupidity and dysfunction. And we need to be a lot better to each other so we can survive this, because we need to circle the wagons and look out for each other. We really do. The curmudgeon, am telling the supreme curmudgeon, the supreme veteran curmudgeon of the universe. I'm saying we need to get along better. You know what I'm saying? We need to look out for each other, and we need to live up to all the high-minded ideals we beat each other over the head with every day. You know. So that's the writing program that's going to be eventually implemented once me and Pete Barlow, aka GI Low, get that worked out. So yeah, get a good laptop, get that you're comfortable with the writing program. And hell, I still hunt and peck to this day. I don't have any. I'm not like. There are days I couldn't English to save my life, and I'm going to say this. I don't know if my now former publisher, my editor, will be mad at me, but there are no great writers anymore. There are just great editors that make the writing, that make the dysfunction readable. You know, they make it flow to where the reader can follow along effectively and easily. There are no great writers anymore. They're just great editors and publishers who maintain the integrity of the message and not piss off the author. Because I'm going to say this, I might come across like a dick, but that's my superpower. the editor and the publisher don't have to feel the disrespect from the collaborators that the author feels. If my guys are mad at me because they read this and like, dude, you let them butcher our message. The publisher doesn't have to live with that. The editor doesn't have to live with that. I have to live with that. As the author, you, the author, would have to live with that. You have to live with that shame of saying, oh, yeah, well, we needed to get it out as soon. No, it needed to be right. Okay. So that's what I'm really going to hold in and harp on in the process of helping you write your book is integrity, continuity of message, integrity of message, that that your guys are happy with it, because you're going to those collaborations are coming. Think of the Hobbit, the very first Hobbit movie. Well, they did it backwards, but it's where Bilbo is like, I'm going on an adventure. You don't think you're going on an adventure, but you're going on an adventure. Your guys are gonna be like, oh, I don't remember this, I don't remember that. A couple weeks later, oh, I remember all these things, and next thing you know, you've got a notebook opened up, you got a laptop opened up, and you're bouncing back and forth between the laptop and the notebook, and you're trying to keep all this stuff straight, and you're trying not to freak out. You're going the confirmations are going to turn into collaborations if it's really good. Okay. When your guys you're collaborating with are ready to let the floodgates open and all this stuff comes out, it's coming out like if like somebody torpedoed Hoover Dam, it's coming out like that. It doesn't matter how you feel, it's coming out. You're just trying to control the flow and get the best possible content, the best possible material out of that. Okay. And again, you will learn more about sensitivity towards your fellow man. When I've got a guy sitting across from me looking like he's about to pull out a strap and just PTSD everybody in the house because he looks like he's about to have a breakdown, but he miraculously holds it in. That's one of my guys. That visual is in my mind every time a publisher and editor tries to say, "Oh, we're going to make these changes." Oh no, the hell you're not. No, that change that stays. Okay, you're going to become very possessive and protective of your collaborators because it's going to get real when all this stuff that they said wasn't going to come out starts coming out, and you have to do right by them. Okay, so we'll call it the dysfunctional we'll call it the dysfunctional writing segment. Okay, that just happened. Well, it's been in the works for a while, but now you know what's coming. Now, I will eventually put in the I'll probably put in the Whoa HQ page a picture of my Jeep. She's not roadworthy right now. I don't know why, but every time I put a new set of tires on a vehicle, something horrible happens to it to where it's not drivable. So there's a picture of a thermostat that I put on the Whoa HQ page. I replaced the thermostat because the old one wouldn't work. It's still the fan clutch. The fan clutch doesn't work. And today I opened up the passenger door. Oh yeah, I smell coolant. So yeah, I'm pretty sure my heater core just took a crap, or it's been taking a slow crap. And here's the thing. I'll bring them up. I'll grab them. There's these rods in your old Jeep Wranglers. They have these rods. One end bolts to the firewall and the other end bolts to the front grill. Okay, I had one of the bolts break off, and me being me, I'm like, oh, we'll deal with it later. We'll deal with it later. And now there are actual pictures on the internet of the fact that Jeep Wranglers, well, Jeeps, but my Jeep Wrangler has the wind resistance characteristics of a cow. So yeah. So if you leave those rods off because you want to get around to replacing the bolt that broke off in later, sometimes later becomes never. And the grill just keeps bending back and bending. And when it bends back, the hood, when the hood latch, they're out of alignment. So when you don't get those rods put back in, and the hood the grill keeps bending back, and the hood latches aren't aligned up, and then the rubber hood latches break, and you have to replace them, and you don't replace them because you don't put the rods back in, and then you use chicken wire. You use chicken wire after you drill a couple of holes in the hood latches that are bolted to the hood itself. Then what happens when you keep using chicken wire? Eventually, it breaks when you're driving down the road, and when it breaks when you're driving down the road, the hood goes wham, and it bends and it smashes the windshield. I'll put the picture up here after the show. So yeah, sometimes redneck military ingenuity is not an acceptable substitute for actually fixing the problem. So yeah, I'll put that picture up there so you can say, bad veteran, bad veteran. Okay, I'll put that picture up in the Whoa HQ page after the show. Okay, so yeah, and you'll love the picture of the beautiful new tires with the smashed windshield and the bent hood. You'll love that. Yeah, just as much as I did. So, and in order to get her home, you know those bands that you put on your legs and you go to do those you use them for range of motion exercises. I literally had to go into my gym into the Lost and Found, grab one of those bands and jerry rig it to where the hood wouldn't come slamming back up at 50 miles an hour. So yeah, I'll put that picture on there and you can be like, yep, sometimes sometimes ingenuity is not an acceptable substitute for actually fixing the problem the right way. And this Jeep is the one I want a resto mod as a result of the book and all these other projects making me enough money to afford the resto mod once all my bills are paid and some tech is upgraded. Okay. So yeah, I need to make me some money. As a matter of fact, I still need to make it. I'm going to put my PayPal up here next week, eventually, hopefully next week, so we can start raising funds to get me back up to Ohio, so I can show you guys what. Okay, don't get mad at me, Pimp and Goose, but I gotta call it this because it's what's in my head, and we'll change the name later. It's a sound wave treatment on your junk. So I just to be a smartass, I called it the Dick Blaster 5000 treatment. I'm gonna well, if I get my doctor's permission, once I get him here, once we do the Testosterone for Dummies podcast, in which we go through the uber basics of testosterone and how it all works, you know, he's the guy I'm going to be getting the treatment from. So, in the interest of putting myself all the way out there and inspire you guys to not, have excuses to not have excuses to get the help you need, we'll just call it I'll literally get his permission to. We'll turn each treatment episode into a podcast. You know what I'm saying? We'll do it, and we're going to take some sting out of the stigma. I'm going to put my big ugly mug front and center in this battle to get competent care by doctors who aren't beholden to bonuses and bean counters, because that's all the VA is. It's all about bonuses and keeping the bean counters happy. So when we have these test results, I'm going to say to the doctor, no minimums, only the right amount. And if you got to go above, that's fine. Only no more minimums, no more cheaping out. I want the best possible option, and you're going to see the price tag that it costs to get the best possible care. The VA says, "Oh, you deserve it. You ain't showing it in the way you're treating us." So yeah. We'll call it We'll call it the Dick Blaster 5000 episodes. And I'm not doing it to be belligerent or provocative. I just want it to be real, and I want the veterans laughing in that way that they don't want to laugh, but they're gonna laugh. That's what I want. So what we'll do once I get my that will be, I believe, April the 8th is when we have that episode, because that's when he's free. So we'll have that episode, and we'll go from there. And then this coming week, this next episode, I'll put I will put my PayPal up there, and as you explain everything, if you want to donate so I can afford it, that'd be awesome. Next week, as far as interviews go, I think I'm gonna have a lady named Mary. Okay. Dan McNeil. Okay. Just got from one of the co-founders. Verbal mention on the Tuesday night Woe Radio show, the flagship show. We got a guy named Dan McNeil coming on. Watch, it'll be good. If the co-founders have got him on there, it's going to be a damn good time. So yeah, go ahead we're also going to be supporting Alex Clark. If I can talk my neighbor into giving me a ride that's about 2.5, 3 hours to Asheville, hopefully it's after the first. That way I'll have some money. I'm always broke, but at least I'll have some money. Maybe I can fire up the grill and make up a bacon bomb, and you guys can actually see what it looks like as it's done. So I'll do a bacon bomb and maybe some bacon wrapped Brussels sprouts. And there's this little local joint. It's a little Amish joint. It's a combination deli grocery store, a small grocery store. Their Reuben sandwiches are, I cannot overstate how good they are. I'll take him one of the Reubens and maybe cook something for him. And they've got this stuff called double smoked sweet bologna. Oh So my diabetes is like, don't you touch it. I'm like, bite me, diabetes. I'm chowing down. It's that. Yeah, I'm always fighting with my diabetes. So yeah. So okay, so we got the interview segment. We're going to have Lewis Anderson eventually back on. Mary is next week. She's a veteran. She's up in the state of New Jersey. Yeah. I have a love-hate relationship with New Jersey. We'll just leave it at that. My Wounded Warrior Project guy and I refer to it as the New Jersey incident. And by the way, the New Jersey incident story will be in the writers program. I've got some stories in there to kind of jog your creativity and get you to bring some of your stories out, because it's just that dysfunctional. So, matter of fact, I'll tell you a story real quick. Okay, this is way back when I was young and my liver was still, it didn't look like a purse. Okay, well, I was young and fresh out of the Marine Corps, because they wanted me to be in the Marine Reserve and be in an infantry unit. And I'm like, I just got out of the black hole that was the 2nd Marine Infantry Division. No, thank you. Because FU is kind of frowned upon. So I'm working at Walmart at a Tire and Lube Express. This woman, to say she was dumber than a fence post, to say that she was dumber than a fence post, I would legitimately owe an apology to fence posts everywhere. God is my witness this happened. God is my witness she said what she said. Okay, I'm at Walmart. I'm behind the counter, and I'm not supposed to be behind the counter taking doing paperwork and working with customers, but I am. And this ruined me for customer service forever. Okay. This happened. So I'm talking to her. She's like, I want an oil change. I'm like, what kind of oil change would you like? And she's like, I don't know. So I rattled through all 5 options. Rattled through all 5 options once. What would you like? I don't know. Rattled through all 5 options again, the second time. I don't know what I should get. I rattled through all 5 options again a third time. And I'm getting frustrated. She's got this, the lights are on, but nobody's home. Look, she was the quintessential dumb blonde. I rattled off all 5 options at least 3 to 5 times. And what do you want? God's my witness. She literally said, I don't know what I want, but I just know I want you to give it to me. Yeah, let me say that again. I don't know what I want. I just know that I want you to give it to me. Now, cue the adult story jokes. Go ahead, run with them. That's fine. Okay. Yeah. She literally said that, and I'm like, I've just got this. My jaw hit the floor. I'm like, and I'm like, my brain is like, what? Yeah, she said that, and then I said, option number 3, the premium oil change. That's what you're getting. And she just walks away, just, and I'm like, she votes and she breeds and she drives. Yes, there are people in this world that stupid and that lazy mentally. They exist. They vote, they breed, they drive. Yeah. So stories like that are in there to get your creativity going and to beat into submission to writer's block, because writer's block is every bit the enemy that ISIS was, that the Soviet Union was in the Cold War, that the Vietnamese were. So I put some stories like that in there to just it's like trying to rig your writer's block with C4 and blow it to hell so you can get back to writing. So yeah, there's dysfunction in there that will hopefully shake loose the writer's block. So that's what I'm offering to. I was on Gappleby's podcast on Twitch. I follow him from time to time because, again, I got to beat that technology curmudgeon to submission. So I'm trying to embrace it without coming across like that stereotypical old guy. And I told him that the goal was to resto mod my Jeep from the frame up. I mean, literally, the body will come up off the frame and go on what's called a body rotisserie. And the body guy that I want to do it this is my wallet. I had this one with me in Baghdad when I was in the prison. Um, and he took one look at my Jeep and he said, just off the top of my head, a minimum of 6 months and a minimum of $50,000. And this wallet tried to actively escape from my pants. I audibly heard my wallet say, "Screw you! You're not paying 50 grand." I'm like, "Shut your mouth! I do what I want. You're not my dad." So yeah, this project is not going to be cheap. So yeah, so we're gonna have an automotive a gearhead grease monkey segment, So and I'm gonna use my Jeep as the prime example because right now it's beat to hell. And again, as soon as we're done with the podcast, I'm gonna put it on there. I'm gonna put the the picture of my baby in some really bad shape right now. So yeah. But yeah, that's what I got going on right now, and I'm gonna have the guests on, and we're gonna do all those things. I guess I might as well ask, do you guys have any questions? I'm gonna keep running my mouth for another 10 or so minutes, and then we'll probably cut it off unless you guys have questions. I have no problem. And what I want to start doing is I want to start getting hosts from the network on here so we can talk about topics that they want to talk about. And I'm going to get my guests on other shows. Like Lewis is about to get plugged in here big time because he has a service that we as veterans need. I need a service dog. Okay. But I can't afford it because I'm dirt poor. Okay. But if I can help other veterans get service dogs to where they're getting out of the house and their PTSD isn't raging around in their skull and making them half out of their mind with anxiety and rage and stress, then I've done a good thing. So I'm going to get Lewis plugged into Whoa Entertainment to where he's throwing that out there for you guys. So you got a service dog option now too. Plus, I got a guy at my gym I'm going to try to get on here because he's like, so we've got that dog that Lewis has got. We got another guy with dogs. So we're going to have multiple options for you to choose from to where you can plug into where you need to plug in and get what you need from us. I would liken it to, I believe it was either Gulf War I or the opening invasion into Iraq in 03. General Krulak, he was a Marine General Krulak. He was the commandant of the Marine Corps at one time. At one point, he was running logistics. He had all of his little outposts in a line. It was like you would run through, you get these supplies from this post, and you could run through it in a line. You could get them and go. That's what I want to do. I want it to be to where we're getting stuff out to you guys, services and stuff, to where you can get what you need. You can get entertainment from us. You can get help with problems from us. We can explore issues about like Second Amendment ranch. It's all things Second Amendment. I want to get a convention of states. I want to start talking. We got to start talking about the Convention of States, to where they're making constitutional amendments, and we want to have all the issues that you guys really care about, Cars and Coronas. I don't know what happened with Cars and Coronas, but I'm going to work with Applebee's to get that back. I'm going to have him on my show so he can start talking. If he can't talk about it on Cars and Coronas, he can come on to my show, and we can have him on there as a segment there. Okay, because again, I'm trying to get back into school for automotive technician, because the problem with the automotive industry, if you are not constantly keeping up, every 3 to 5 years it turns over. You're so far behind, it's not even funny. But the VA doesn't care about that. They don't think about that. They only think about it's the cost to them. That's the only thing they care about. They don't care about what it takes to actually make it in the automotive technician industry. And as soon as they label you problematic, then they say, "Oh, you're just not good enough to do that. You should just do this other menial thing you don't want to do." Okay, so I'm going to be fighting the VA on that too, because no names were named, but the stories about what some of these people at this VA hospital did are in there. They did me dirty. They did me dirty. They'll do every veteran they can dirty. I mean, when I walked into my doctor's office and told her about the voc rehab specialist, oh yeah, everybody complains about her. And it was the congressional. There's a story about a congressional. I got a congressman involved and eventually got her removed. Okay, so yeah, I'm trying to get back into school so I can get my automotive technician skills kind of back up to snuff, and I can get my ASE certification because I have test anxiety from hell. Okay, so I'm trying to do a bunch of different stuff here within this through this podcast within Woe Entertainment Nation. I guess I'll just call them Woe Entertainment Nation. Sounds cool. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work with Goose and Pimp, and we're going to put out some good quality product, and you're going to see my fat ass get back in shape. You're going to see you're going to see me struggle. You're going to see me. I don't know if you see me bike riding, but you'll know I'm bike riding, and it's about 7 miles from my place to my gym. That's not the shortest route. That's just the route that's least likely for me to get hit by a damn car. Because my fat ass has to do cardio anyways. Okay. You're gonna see me in the gym doing supersets and kettlebell swings and deadlifts and hang cleans, and you're gonna see me doing all this stupid stuff to myself in the name of getting back in shape, so you can be like, I've got no excuse. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I got an old buddy that I was in Baghdad with. He was busting out the 120-pound dumbbells, and well, all I'm going to say is I'm going to be back up to the 120-pound dumbbells, and I'm going to be squatting at least 500 pounds so I can justify. I'm going to justify busting his ass because, yeah, we're just like that. So that's my goal, and to be down to 225 by 1 November. Okay. And I'll repost the picture on the Whoa HQ page of me taking a picture of myself at 256, 257 as my starting weight. That was as a result of me and Pimp having a talk. Me having him on for an interview. So yeah, I'm putting my money where my mouth is to the best of my ability. And I've been pissing some people off by being very honest. But here's the thing. We're at a point where we can't afford to just tiptoe around each other's feelings. Not to say we treat each other like dirt, but we got to get back to basic, honest, respectful conversations to where we're not skinning each other alive. And we need to not be simplistic when it comes to helping our veteran brothers out to where we just say, you're angry, shut up and get offline. Lewis, again, if these people that I'm calling out were to be as simplistic towards him as they were towards me, he'd shove that revolver in his mouth and he'd be dead right now, and he wouldn't be providing a service for veterans in the form of service dogs. We wouldn't have that. So, yeah, some of you need to get past running your mouth about caring about veterans and reevaluate how you talk. We need to reevaluate how we talk to each other. So that's what we got going on. We got a lot of different stuff going on, and God bless Carl. He's earning his long-suffering badge, helping me put some polish on this turd to get you guys good stuff so you can tune in and you can see the stupid stuff I'm doing and be like, okay, I'm going to do this with my vehicle smarter. I'm going to do this collaborating with other people smarter, because he's taking all of his stupid mistakes and he's putting them out there for me so I can learn. I'm going to be smarter than him in this respect. I'm going to be that cautionary tale, but I'm also going to succeed. So you can be like, okay, he put himself out there as the cautionary tale. He still got it done. I literally have no excuse to not try and keep going and do what I need to do to be better. So that's what I'm going to be for you guys every damn week. So get used to it. I'm here. So, all right, we got about 10 minutes. So I'm going to give it a few minutes. If Carl, if you guys got any questions, throw them out there. I'll answer them to the best of my ability, and we'll go from there. So right now I am checking to see if there's anything. Have I got anything on? I got to see what my. There's a guy named Kurt Balash at Balash Woodworks. Sometime this summer, I'm going to his compound, to his business, and we're going to make a day of it. and we're going to do a lot of different stuff. That man has been through hell. He's actually he's a widower. His wife died last year. I worry about him every damn day. Go to Belash Woodworks and check him out. He is the master of all things woodworking. And I'm going to spend a day with him this summer, and we're going to powwow about a lot of different stuff. And maybe if I can play my cards right, I can make myself a cutting board or something and not lop off a thumb, which would be really awesome. Not lop off a thumb, chop off a thumb, saw off a thumb. So yeah, be ready for that this summer if I can get all the logistical stuff done and do it on a shoestring budget like I do everything else. So yeah, that's what I got going on. That's what I'm going to be doing this summer with him. Next week is going to be Mary. I'll try to get me a couple other guests on in the meantime between Mary and my doc for the testosterone 101 episode, so you guys can learn about how that works. So yeah, okay. Let's see what we got going on here. Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can get another another one of my Intel buddies on, so we can talk about all things Intel. But no, that's what this is going to be. It's going to be interviewing veterans about the VA. It's going to be car stuff, and namely my Jeep, getting it fixed up, and doing a couple. I've got a couple other projects that are near and dear to my heart, but that's going to be way down the road. I want to get the Jeep done first, because once you see the shape she's in, I can't say to you, "Hey, let's do a project together." And you'd be like, have you seen what you're driving? Have you seen what you're driving in the condition it's in? So I want to get this all going. I want to get the book published and all this other stuff going, so I can get me some revenue generated, so I can do this stuff, and I want to help you guys in the process of doing all this stuff. So what I give you is a simple program, a simple approach to work from, so I can say, hey, I gave you this to work with, and it's simple, it's effective. That's what we're working on. So yeah, we got, I'll say, a good 8 minutes left. Let's see what we got going on. Yeah, we're gonna have Luce back on. We might eventually, we'll have somebody for my private chat once we've got enough people involved to turn this into a legitimate program, a legitimate endeavor. So we're going to explain what we're going to do. But I'm going to have to go talk to a congressman. I'm going to break down and call me a congressman tomorrow or Monday and be like, this is what I'm doing. Either you want to help, or you want me to, either you want to be a part of the solution, or you want me, calling you out, not necessarily by name, but they're going to know it's either you want to help fix this to where I'm not getting more bill collectors. And I think, I'll just have every veteran I have on here. I'm going to just say, hey, what bills do you got that the VA refused to pay? So I have not yet begun to shame the VA. And these congressmen, we're either going to inspire them to step up and start acting like they care about us, which most people know they don't. But we're going to get them to at least put on an act that they care about us, or we're just going to shame them into the fetal position, assuming they're even capable of feeling shame at this point. So, yeah, it's going to be getting the word out about the hell that the veterans are going through. It's going to be car stuff. It's going to be writing stuff so you can start telling your story. I'm not going to be grammatical. I'm going to be a psychological editor to help get what's out of your head into something readable for civilians to read. Okay. I'm going to not let you go through some of what I went through the hard way. I got your AAR. Just know that. Me and GI Low, Pete Barlow, are going to turn it into something usable. Okay. As soon as I get it to him, as soon as we get our comms issue worked out. So yeah, that's what's going on right now. We got 5 minutes. If you got questions, let me know. If not, we'll call it a night, and I'm going to go take a raging. I'm going to go use the bathroom and cook me up some dinner, and we'll go from there. But I want you to know that as much of a foul-mouthed pain in the ass as I am, I do care underneath the mouth, the attitude, and the crazy. And this is my way of giving you something tangible as a way of saying, this is for me to you. Make it work, blow it to hell and improvise from there. Let me know how it went, you know. So that's my mission, to give you guys something to work with and to shame the VA to hell and back again. And that's what I'm here for. And I'm going to, one way or another, I'm getting back in the grease monkey game. And I'm going to fight with these people because, you know, they run their mouths about how much they say they care. But then when it comes down to actually caring, yeah, they're nowhere to be found. So I'm going to use this podcast to fight them and to call them out, not necessarily by name, but they're going to know who they are. And when the book comes out, you're going to get to read about that too. We'll eventually get into talking about local charities that claim to be able to help the veteran, but they really just use them for cheap labor and sob stories to make them more money. You know, that's how I ended up down here in North Carolina in the first place. So yeah, there's more of this coming. And the plan is get it to where we've got the VA's attention, whether they like it or not. And hold on a second. Let's see what we got. Yeah, 6. Well, actually about 4 now, but yeah. All right, check it out. I think we should just shut it down for the night. I don't see any questions coming in. I'll try to be better. I'm gonna start working on getting a lot more polish on this. Obviously, we're doing it in baby steps. Carl is earning his long-suffering badge and teaching me how to do this stuff. So we're hopefully next week we'll have music and like a picture video montage, you know, and we're gonna polish this up and make it look good. So, all right, Carl, let's call it a night. And to Woe Entertainment Nation on Facebook, on Twitch, on Discord, YouTube, and everywhere else around the world. Hey, come back next week. We'll have more for you. You know, we'll have more content. We'll have more veterans telling their stories, and we're going to turn this into something good. And by hook or by crook, I'm going to be in shape for Warrior Fest in November. It's 05 and it's November 5th and 6th, somewhere in New Jersey, somewhere in Missouri. And yeah. So y'all have a good night. Talk at you later.